In 1992, the basements and underground tunnels in Chicago's Loop filled with water and fish from the Chicago River. This was the Great Chicago Flood, and the surviving fish occasionally interrupt our broadcast. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's Tuesday, June 22nd, and you're watching the Stormy, Husky, Brawling show from Chicago. Come and show me another city with lifted head, singing, so proud to be alive, and coarse, and strong, and cunning. Here's your host. Nimrod, sweetie, we talked about this. We're a talk show, and talk shows have hosts. No, sweetie. Chicago's not ready for you to host. But you can go fetch a fresh one. Go on.
Whoa! Oh no, the blue curtains, the studio, why am I back here? What is this? Who are you people?
We're the Stormy Husky Brawling show, and you are our host, and it's time for you to read.
No. You did this to me before. I was walking down the street by myself and you kidnapped me and you brought me in here there were basement fish or something, and they asked me a bunch of questions, and they threw stuff at me, and I passed out. I woke up in a dark alley. I have been in therapy. I've been talking to my therapist, talking about this every day for the last 3 weeks. I finally felt okay. I'm walking down the street, and all of a sudden you kidnap me again and bring me back here?
Oh, well, I'm glad you've been talking to your therapist. Self-care is important, but now you need to talk to them. You need to talk to Chicago.
That's Chicago?
Yes, look right there and introduce yourself to Chicago. Tell Chicago your name and read the words.
Chicago, hi. My name is Edgar Clay.
Great. Now read the words.
Somebody pinch me because I must be dreaming. Nobody's gonna pinch me, are they? Okay.
Of course not. Continue.
My whole life, I've wanted to have my own talk show, and here I am hosting the Stormy Husky Brawling show. Now, I hope I do a good enough job that I become your public friend, number one.
What a lovely sentiment. Everyone could use a friend.
Okay, what was that?
That was nothing. Just a little feedback from the monitors.
Speaking of public friend number one, on this day in 1934, John Dillinger was named America's public enemy number one.
He didn't deserve such a negative moniker. He had a good heart.
Now, John Dillinger was a gangster and a bank robber during the Great Depression. He was never convicted of murder, but his gang killed 10 people during a string of bloody bank robberies across the Midwest.
I only wish he could have loved himself more. It would have saved a lot of fish. I mean, people from heartache.
You said fish, didn't you? You're another one of those basement fish, aren't you?
Yes, you caught me. I'm a basement fish, and I must say you're doing a lovely job.
He would be if you would quit interrupting him.
Apologies, dear. Continue.
Read.
Even though he was brutal and violent and the FBI named him America's worst enemy, the press portrayed Dillinger as a heroic Robin Hood figure.
Robin Hood! Another man who could have benefited from loving himself. Sure, he had some friends, but he had a lot of foes too. That's what happens when you steal from the rich and give to the poor.
Please, be quiet.
Dillinger and his gang stole more than $300,000 from the same banks that had foreclosed on thousands of properties during the Great Depression.
The Great Depression? Was ever there a more apt description of a time when 2 million people were unemployed with no place to live?
Everyone knows what the Great Depression is. Please, stop editorializing. Read!
Dillinger was cunning. He was hard to catch, and when he did go to jail, he escaped twice. This endeared him to the public.
Nowadays, he'd be called a media darling. I'd put him up there with the likes of J-Lo. Now there's someone who could use a little more self-love.
I think she's doing just fine. Plus, she's never killed anyone nor robbed a bank.
Not that we know of.
Continue, please.
1 month after being designated public enemy number 1, he went to the movies at what is now Victory Gardens Theater in Chicago's Lincoln Park.
The man had culture. Just not love.
He went with 2 women, and one of them tipped off the authorities to his whereabouts.
Can you imagine being deceived like that? Someone says they're your friend, and then they're anything but. It's too terrible to imagine.
If you must imagine it quietly. Read.
Dillinger attended the movies with his girlfriend and the Lady in Red. Now, the Lady in Red was Anna Sage, a Romanian prostitute and brothel owner.
Others loved her, if you know what I mean. But did she love herself?
They needed her help identifying Dillinger because they didn't know what he looked like anymore. That's because the outlaw underwent extensive plastic surgery. Now, he did this to hide his identity from the police and avoid jail. The doctors gave him a facelift, they removed his moles, they filled in the cleft of his chin, and they used chemicals to burn off his fingerprints.
One has to wonder, could he even recognize himself?
When they walked out of the movie theater, the feds saw Anna, ID'd Dillinger, and shot him to death.
One has to wonder what those G-men saw when they looked in their mirrors that night. What did they see when they looked inside themselves?
When one wonders, they do it silently. I'm very serious. You have to be quiet. Read.
As the outlaw lay dying, passers-by dipped their handkerchiefs and skirts in Dillinger's still warm blood.
I have one. Can you believe someone threw this in the Chicago River? I found this floating in the late 30s. Of course, the blood isn't warm anymore, but my heart and my feelings for Johnny Boy are.
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
How old are you?
I was told there wouldn't be math.
No, you were told not to interrupt. You just don't want to admit how old you are.
Fine. I'll tell you. I'll tell you everything. I was born in the late 30s. I was Johnny's pet goldfish once upon a time. When he escaped from prison, my boy was lonely. He didn't have a home, or a job, or anyone to talk to, so he adopted me, fair and square.
Give me that fish or I'll shoot your brains out!
It was the best day of my life. I trusted him with my heart, and he trusted me with his secrets.
I'm going to tell you something, Private Fish Face. I don't think I'm right in the head. I think I'm addicted to plastic surgery. I know I shouldn't, but I want another facelift.
Oh, how I wanted to help him. Back then I couldn't talk, but I could make eye contact. Kid, you gotta learn to love yourself.
Oh, how I wish I could love myself, but it's too hard, especially with the pressure of being public enemy number 1. Well, Fish Face, I'll see you later. I'm headed to the movies with the 2 best gals this ugly guy could ever have.
That was the last time I ever saw my boy. After the feds killed him, they raided his apartment. Not knowing what to do with me, they flushed me down the toilet and I went straight to the Chicago River, where I lived fairly peacefully until those basement floods. I'm not gonna lie, those floods were scary, but they made me brave enough to love myself.
That's good. How did that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel pretty hungry. Is there food here?
Not yet. Be quiet.
You know, I'm pretty hungry too. When it gets here, do you mind if I come with you?
The more the merrier, son.
I have a question for you. Does a basement fish by the name of Haley ever, talk about me? Edgar Clay. She'd never say my name or anything.
Hey, guys, excuse me? Get back here! We're experiencing technical difficulties, but we'll be back soon with another episode of the Stormy Husky Brawling Show.
So they said they didn't know Haley. Is anybody here? Hello? Hello? Is anyone in the booth up there? I'm just looking for Haley, the basement fish. I don't get to meet a lot of basement fish, so I don't know if you guys, I'm just assuming you would know her. She's looks a little bit like Marilyn Monroe, kind of a lot like Marilyn Monroe, but I just wanted to, I don't know. Oh, they turned out the lights here. That's okay, I can stay. I'll stick around. Just tell Haley that Edgar is here. She doesn't know who that is. Just tell her that we had a thing, because I think we did. But that's okay. They close up. I'll be here.